Hello, movie nerds, and welcome back to Cinematic Sarcastic, the podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we are going to talk about the new Marvel miniseries Secret Invasion. This one is starring Emilia Clarke and Samuel L. Jackson. Now, I will say, I've mentioned this in previous episodes before, but I want to start off with just the same disclaimer that I am not a huge Marvel stan. I am not very familiar with like the Marvel comic books or characters. I am coming into it from a complete like layperson experience. So I am coming in as just some random schmo off the street to watch a Marvel series. And I do also want to make the disclaimer, as divisive as this might be, but I want to just be upfront and honest. I do not like Samuel L. Jackson. I do not like him. I don't think he's a good actor. That's just my personal opinion of him. I came to this show specifically for Emilia Clarke, the mother of dragons, the end. So that being said, I don't like Secret Invasion. I don't think that the show was very good. Again, I'm not a huge Marvel fan. I didn't watch the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. probably because I'm not a huge Samuel L. Jackson fan, and the idea of that show just did not entice me in any way because it didn't have like any of the superheroes in it, let's be honest. I really enjoy a lot of the Marvel films and stuff that came out like 10 years ago. When we were still in phase 1, I was here for it. Now I'm just not as here for it. We'll just say it that way. And Secret Invasion for me, just, I didn't understand. It's not that I didn't understand what was going on in the show. It's very obvious. Like, I don't understand why the show is called Secret Invasion. They should have just called it Invasion, because every single person, every character in the first episode knows that there is this alien invasion happening. Like, that's the whole plot of the series, I think, is just that they're trying to stop the aliens from blowing shit up, right? Here's the thing. It's so boring. It's so boring and so slow, and there aren't I don't want to call them like plot holes. I just want to say that it is really lazy script writing. Like, the story itself doesn't make sense. There are certain things that happen in it where you're like, what? Why would that? How does that make sense? For example, early on, kind of, I guess maybe in the middle of the first episode, Emilia Clarke's character is meant to meet with this art dealer who is on the side, I guess, making dirty bombs. And so she's supposed to go and meet with him in order to collect these bomb packages, right? Now, as she's leaving his art gallery, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are showing up because they also have all of this information on who is making the bombs for the aliens. Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, and one other character, Talos, who is an alien, they go in to talk with the alien art dealer. Now, Agent Hill, I guess, the lady in the series, she spots Emilia Clarke and instantly just knows, like, that's one. She seems suspicious. Why? When has anyone ever looked at Emilia Clarke and gone, suspicious? Never has that happened. She's like some random girl with a backpack, and Agent Hill is just like, no, definitely an alien. So she starts to follow her. When Samuel L. Jackson and this character of Talos finish beating up and essentially like ending this alien art dealer, suddenly Talos ends up in the exact same place where Agent Hill is. When she never called for help, she never told them where she was. He just mysteriously shows up. And they're like down in some alleyway or down in a sewer. How does he know they're there? How? He doesn't. I feel like there has to have been maybe something that got cut out, like a scene that would have explained that. And if there is no cutout scene, how lazy is that? That 10 seconds ago, this person was somewhere on the other side of town. Now suddenly he's here because you need him to be here, because Talos is, of course, Emilia Clarke's character of Gaia. That's her dad. So you need to have this like sentimental moment where he's asking her to like not be a part of this radical group that's like blowing up things, right? There's so much, so much in this that just doesn't make sense, right? Like places will come into everything. Like Samuel L. Jackson just randomly goes into this bar for no reason. Like after fighting art gallery dude, let's just go to the bar, I guess, for reasons. Let's not check on any of the other agents or check in with anyone and make sure everyone's safe, you know, because the last he would have known, Agent Hill was just following Emilia Clarke. He doesn't ever check in with her to be like, did that pan out? Was that worth any? Nada. He just goes to the bar. And like, as far as I can tell, Nick Fury serves no actual point in this series. Like he doesn't do anything. Even during the fight sequence with the alien, he's just kind of sitting in a chair. Like he's not really a part of what's going on. It seems like the other people around him are doing all of the legwork and all of the stuff. And so I don't understand why it was such a big deal to like call him back down to earth just to do what exactly? Like I'm just, all they do really is just make fun of him through the whole thing. They're calling him old every other sequence, it feels like. Like other than to point fun and laugh at him. And I don't even really like Samuel L. Jackson, but I'm like, why bring this character in if nobody respects him or really cares that he's there? It just doesn't make that much sense to me to do that. And the whole series kind of goes that way, where it just sort of seems like there is always something missing, or there's always something that's been cut out, or there is a part of the story that just doesn't quite make sense. Even towards the ending, there is one sort of pivotal sequence. I don't want to give it away here, but it's like a big thing. They're tracking down all of these people, and Nick Fury like follows this dude forever and never tries to stop him. And it ends in kind of what I would consider a catastrophe, right? Why are you following? Why didn't you? Hello, you have a gun. Like you're literally trying to stop an alien invasion, right? Or are these aliens like causing such a kerfuffle that they can take over? But you're just like watching people. I don't understand what's going on with this series. Again, like I mentioned kind of previous, it's really boring. It's very slow. There are some like action sequences that do happen that I feel like kind of kick it up a notch. But oddly enough, one of the things that I found like the most strange through the first episode of Secret Invasion is that the score, the music that they set to it seemed oddly out of place. Like there would be not really anything going on at all. Like it's a pretty like boring sort of sequence of events that's happening, like a conversation or something of that nature. But the background music will be like this, ba-da, 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 like super intense. Like you're meant to be like hyped, or you're meant to feel scared or something like that, but nothing is actually happening. like it almost kind of reminded me of some of those reels that you can see on an Instagram where they're like, the music matters, and it's like some sequence between like Harry Potter and Voldemort, but it's set to like sexy music or something, and it changes kind of the feel of that scene. So I don't know if whoever was in charge of like soundtrack or music just sort of thought if you played sort of menacing, high energy, intense music, that suddenly that was going to make boring, nothing burger parts of this show like more interesting. It doesn't. It just confuses me. Like it doesn't hype me up. I'm just annoyed that there's like intense music playing behind a regular conversation. Like it seems very strange. I don't know that I understand kind of what the purpose of Secret Invasion is. Like not necessarily like what the plot is meant to be, but I don't understand like what they were hoping this show would do. Because if they were hoping that Secret Invasion was going to bring back everyone's excitement for Marvel again, they missed the mark. I mean, at least for me, this doesn't make me really more interested in what Marvel puts out next. If anything, it kind of turns me off more to what potentially might be next after this one, like the next phase. And already this is coming off of like Ant-Man Quantumania, which I didn't think was that great. So you're supposed to be like, I don't know. And then I ended up reading an interview the other day that I can't remember what magazine it was that did this interview, but someone did an interview with Emilia Clarke, and she was talking about how hyped and like how excited she was to be a part of Marvel, and that she felt that this was better or like more incredible to be a part of Marvel than it was to be a part of Game of Thrones. And I have to say, I don't agree. Like, I don't think, other than potentially introducing her as a character in the Marvel universe where she could potentially have other acting roles, you know, down the road as this character, I don't think this does anything in particular to hype up her career or make it that great. I would 100% rather see her come back as Daenerys than I would be excited to continue to watch her play Gaia. I just didn't get that much out of it, and I didn't quite understand. Like, I understand that Marvel is a huge, like, big name as far as that goes, but she has been a part of the Star Wars universe, granted in something that I also did not enjoy, but she's been a part of Star Wars universe, she's been a part of Game of Thrones, she's been a part of Terminator. Like, yes, not all of those have been successful. I would say Game of Thrones is the only one that I count as like successful to Emilia Clarke, but I very much enjoy her, and I've enjoyed some of the things that she's done since Game of Thrones has ended. But this one, sadly, is not one of them. I adore her. I adore her. But I sadly will probably not continue to watch Secret Invasion just to get to see her. I would rather just skip this one and wait for whatever project she might have coming out next. But I don't know. You guys are going to have to let me know what you thought of Secret Invasion. Definitely, if you are a Marvel fan, I would love to know what you thought of this. If you are just diehard into anything that Marvel does, or if this one was also a loss for you, I don't know. I would be curious. So definitely let me know what you guys thought. Subscribe if you want to join the Movie Nerd family. You can find me on Instagram at Cinematic Sarcastic Podcast, and I hope to see you in the next episode.